Today, I will talk about an agreement between the Government of Canada and the Government of California on climate change and discuss some of my thoughts, what's in it, as well. The Government of Canada and California signed a climate agreement called Memorandum of Cooperation between the Government of Canada and the Government of the State of California of the United States of America concerning climate action and nature protection. In the document, it says the governments are referred to as participants. Some of the points in the agreement, this is in the introduction, the twin challenges of climate change and biodiversity loss are a global threat to the lives and livelihoods of individuals, communities, and there was an urgent need for collaboration. They talk about vehicles and transportation. Vehicles and transportation fuels are a significant source of greenhouse gases. Cutting transport emissions is one of the most readily achievable and economical beneficial ways to mitigate climate change. I agree with that. About 1/3 of greenhouse gas emissions come from transportation. Those talk about hydrogen, carbon capture, as well in meeting the climate goals. I'm not a fan of carbon capture. I believe I talked about carbon capture previously. If I did, I will link it up at the corner. And I'm also not a fan of they say hydrogen. Sometimes that's used in reference to nuclear and small nuclear. I'm not really a fan of that being included. And yeah, carbon capture is a subsidy for increased fossil fuel use. Let's talk about plastic waste. I'm not sure that needs to be in a climate agreement. It could be its own. It should be in an agreement, yes. I think it should be in its own agreement. And then there's another quote: both Canada and California are experiencing more frequent extreme weather events. Yes, I agree with that. Increasing social and economic losses from current and future impacts of climate change. Urgent action is needed to adopt and build resilience, including through the use of nature-based solutions. So I do think that there's a lot of economic focus, not necessarily focused on improving the environment for the environment's sake or people. It's more heavily economic, although I do like nature-based solutions. Then it goes to say both participants want to conserve 30% of land and water by 2030. This is not a new promise. I think I talked about that in a previous video, which I'll link up here if I did. There's a commitment to engaging Indigenous peoples. The question is, which Indigenous peoples, and are they the traditional government, or are they? It's a challenge. With the pipeline, Trans Mountain pipeline that came up, and is it are they going to seek free, prior, and informed consent from each First Nation? Yeah, so these are questions. And then there was an objective of the agreement to create a flexible framework for participants to promote and carry out cooperative activities to reduce pollution, adapt to climate change, and conserving nature. Those common objectives including zero emissions in transportation, promoting clean tech. It's not clear exactly what clean tech is. Share information on lessons learned and best practices on climate adaptation and nature-based solutions. I like that. There's no money geared towards that in the document, or at least no joint money. There might individual governments would have to pass the law. They talked about the circular economy and plastics. Oh, and then I'm just seeing if this is being. So, yeah, and the memorandum is not legally binding. So they at any time the government doesn't have to follow it. Either government doesn't have to follow it. So that's a problem. And largely it's about sharing information. And hopefully they do that. But it didn't seem like there was that much new information from it. Well, especially the protecting 30% of land and water. But I do like that they are collaborating. I wish that there would be more. It would be legally enforceable, and there would be joint money set aside to address some of these issues. Well, thank you for listening, and enjoy the rest of your day.